Hello and welcome to the complete Tableau tutorial video. And in this video, I want to give you a complete overview of the Tableau as a data visualization tool. We will start with a scratch for related to what is Tableau. And then by the end, you will have an expertise of not only just creating a visualization, but you will be creating a dashboard, story, all of these projects. Also, you will be able to tell what is the difference between these different visualizations, in which scenario it needs to be created, and the difference even between the dashboard and a story. All of this concept, which I have learned over a period of many years, I will going to give it to you. If you have landed very first time on my channel, then you should know that this is not the first video of the Tableau. I started posting Tableau videos back in 2017 or 2018, but I was posting the very small video of around 5 to 10 minutes so that who wants to learn this quickly, topic by topic can go over there. But over a period of time, I felt like a realization of or the need for having a video where one can complete all the knowledge, let's say in 2 or 3 hours, and get a good and comfortable understanding of the tool in terms of what it offers, the capabilities, and in the end, and I will keep telling you during this video as to what it is capable of and what it is not, so that you know where to use it and where not to use it, which is also an important thing or knowledge that one should have when they are dealing with a tool, a great tool like this, right? With that, let's go ahead and get the first topic started, which is what is Tableau. So for that, if I go in a presentation mode, right? And so what is Tableau? Tableau, in a nutshell, is a data visualization tool, which basically helps us visualize the large amount of data in a very simple and effective way, right? And that way, one can, when I say one, that means either you or the management or the senior executives can basically see the trends into the data. That means, for example, if you have sales, right, sales related trends, you want to do the comparison, one region performing versus another region, one product performance versus another product performance, or any sort of exploratory analysis is very intuitive and very easy to do in a tool like Tableau, right? So in a nutshell, Tableau is a data visualization tool. Not only just the data visualization, it also offers some of the capabilities of data cleaning, data joining, and the related approaches of data modeling. Not very extensive. Like I said, I will keep telling you what is available, what is not. So functionality is available, but not at a very extensive nature. And I will, when we will reach there, I will talk more in detail. Okay. So what is Tableau? You should know it is a business intelligence tool, which is the #1 tool for doing the data visualization for your data, for your business data, for your public data, any sort of data, you can do that. So once you know what is Tableau, the next question comes is how to get Tableau. And for that, let's go to the Tableau website. So where is Tableau website? Tableau website is tableau.com, as you can see it over here. Tableau.com, once you will reach over there, you will see a lot of information about, as you know, they are giving an information, explore data, deliver insights, and so on and so forth. See Tableau in action. Tableau helps people understand and act on data. All of this information, which you can explore as per your convenience, but you need to come over here. After coming to tableau.com, you need to come over here, and you have two products, which you will be dealing with, or which I will be telling you that you need to start with: Tableau Desktop and Tableau Public. Now you have Tableau Desktop and Tableau Public. Why these two? Because these two helps you do the data visualization. And in a nutshell, what is the difference? Tableau Desktop is a fully functional tool which not only just give you the ability to perform the visualization, but also you will be able to connect 30 plus connectors. For example, you can connect to Excel, you can connect to Microsoft Excel, you can connect to SQL Server, you can connect to AWS Redshift, you can connect to Google Cloud Platform, Microsoft Cloud Platform, you just name it, the connector is over there. for you to connect the data, and that is the present in a fully paid version. Tableau Desktop is only available for a 14-day trial, so I don't recommend that, especially for beginner. If you are a beginner, I always suggest you go to the Tableau Public. So Tableau Public is for those who are having a need of learning Tableau, as well as journalists, right? Don't want to spend a lot of data. They have the public data available and want to visualize and understand, let's say, about government policies, government programs, stuff like that, right? So all of that you can very easily do in a Tableau Public. You have all the offerings, pretty much all the offerings, if not all, but almost all the offerings of Tableau Desktop, but with the limitation that you can only connect to limited set of connectors, also a limited set of data that you can bring in. But generally the public data is not very big and mostly in a summarized form for doing the final output, not like a business data where you have millions and billions and rows of data which you need to bring into the tool and provide the information back. So you can get the Tableau Public. So first of all, you have the option of go to Tableau Public, and here they will basically ask you that you need to basically create the Tableau, so you can download, as you can see, Tableau Desktop Public Edition. Also, the recommendation is that you sign up for Tableau Public, and that is also one of the creating a Tableau Public account, right? That is my next topic. That's why I thought I'll come over here and show you how you can come over here, which is also a website, public.tableau.com. You will land over here and you can sign up for Tableau Public. Since I have already signed up, that's why I will not going to sign up again, but simply once you will click on sign up on Tableau Public, it will ask just that basic information, and then you can create your account. It's very easy. First name, last name, email, password, and confirm password, and boom, you're there, right? So once you have created this, if I go back, you can come over here and click on download Tableau Public. So you have the option of downloading the Tableau Public over here. You can click on that Tableau Public, and it basically takes 15 seconds to fill out. If you're already registered, then sign in. If I sign in, it will basically ask me my username and password, which then it will take me to Tableau Public, right? So tableau.com. Let me come over here and again enter or if I just click on sign in over here, it should allow me to sign in. So that's the small thing. So now I have signed in because I already did sign in over here on a second window. That's why it has picked up. So this is how you will see. And then if I come over here, download Tableau Desktop Public, the public, I will go ahead and download the Tableau Public. Okay, Tableau Public, it should come now over here. Tableau Public in the downloads. I will go ahead and save it. It will take a couple of seconds. So we will just let it download and come back once it is downloaded. All right, so now since the Tableau Public is there, I will simply click on this Tableau Public. If you are on Windows system, you will going to get an exe file, but since I am on Mac, so that's why I'm getting a DMG file. And if you see, this is the Tableau Public. If I double click on that, it will basically ask me that yes, this is the license, continue, agree, installation type, install, and I will just use my password for that, and it will ask me for or ask me to do the installation, and it will take a couple of seconds. So for that, I will just let it pause, and then we will look at the Tableau Public interface. Okay, so the installation is now successful, right? So we're going to click on close, and we will move the packaging file to trash, and let's say move to trash, just so that because we don't need it. All right. Now, since we have Tableau Public, I'll go in all of my apps, and I think this should be the last one, which is the Tableau Public, and we will going to see the Tableau Public interface. Okay, so Tableau Public interface is a very simple one. It will take a couple of seconds to load, and as you can see, it is trying to open it up. So it is a very easy and simple interface, especially to keep in mind for those who are beginners who wants to learn this, and especially for those like journalists and all who are not super tech savvy, and I will click on OK to allow this, who are not super tech savvy but still has a lot of great capabilities with the tool of that Tableau is offering. And as you can see over here, you have the couple of data sets, right? Microsoft Excel, text file, JSON, PDF file you can import, special and statistical file, OData, and more. In the more, you will see that you can get the data from Google Drive, you can get OData and web data connector. This is deprecated, right? Save locally, work with big data, connect to more data sets. For this, upgrade now, which will be upgraded to what? Tableau desktop. So that's why we are not recommending that. We have everything what we need. So I'll just come back. Also in this interface, you will see that this area is blank. It is blank because right now we have not created any visualization, right? And once we will create it, we will going to use they all will appear over here. On the right hand side, it has the how-to videos, right, which you can explore as to how to do a stuff, and that is what also I'm exploring in this entire video from a complete beginner perspective. Then you have the visualization of the day, very, very important to get an inspiration like what experts are really creating, right? So you can click over here and know about what is the visualization of the day. You have the blog, you have the sample data set and current status, right? So that is what it is. Now let's move on to our next topic, which is importing data in Tableau. Okay, let's go ahead and see that in action. First of all, I will show you what is the data set that I will be using it over here, and then we will move ahead. Okay, so the data set we will going to use is a very simple and easy to understand data set, that is a Superstore data set. What this Superstore data set is having is basically a different location. If you see and if I just expand that within the United States, and I think let me just bring that up, the United States data, which is where you have a different customer segment. Or let me start with this. You have the order ID, right? You have the order date, when the order was placed, shipping happened, what is the shipping mode, the customer ID, and if I just expand everything in one go, customer ID, customer name, segment, country, region, city, state, postal code, region, product ID, category, product name, sale, and quantity, discount, and profit, right? A data set with which you can easily understand and get it. You have the people information about who is the regional manager for this, and I'll say cancel, somehow I misplaced it, but and then you have the returns, so for an order ID whether it was returned or not, right? So this is a data set that we are dealing with. Mostly we will deal with orders data set, because you are a beginner, and beginner needs to start with something what I believe very, very basic. I can make it very complex, but I'll keep it very basic just so that you get the maximum out of it. Okay, now this is what I have it on my screen over here, but where will you find it? Well, you will find it in my drive. So the link basically allows you to join my Google groups, where I give the training information and lots of other information about my upcoming program and stuff like that. And then it gives you the link of my Google Drive, where I keep my data, and this is present in datasets folder, right? In datasets folder, you should always look at it over here in datasets, right? This is where I will going to maintain everything, and this is where in front of you I'm creating an entry where I will give a hyperlink, sample Superstore data set, right? So that way that the data set is present here. By the time it will be uploaded, I'll make sure you have the link. You will click on this link, like hospital dashboard project management. I've done a lot of work on my channel, so you want to explore, you can. But these are all the data sets, and sample Superstore is something which I will put it over here, so that anywhere I will reference in future, you will just have to come here and get this. Okay, so this is where the data set is present. Now let me go back to Tableau Public. Here I am in a Tableau Public, and let's import the data which is in the Microsoft Excel. And if I go into OK, and if I go to the desktop, click OK. In my case, because of the security and all, it asks me a lot of stuff. So I'm clicking on Sample Superstore and I click Open. And as soon as I click Open, it will start processing the information. And it shows me the information about orders, people, and return. If you remember, those were the 3 tabs we explored when I was showing you the spreadsheet. So you have the orders, and orders is something we will going to bring. So it is saying drag. I'm just dragging it over here, and as you can see, what it brings is the name of the fields right over here, physical table, and remote field. This is more of a technical information. If you are a beginner, you don't know that, no need to worry. This is not the information that you basically need to know right from the scratch. Your information which you should know is over here. This is just the data, metadata information, or it's about the data. All right, sorry about that. But coming back to the table that you need to know is this one. Here is the important information, because you just don't have the data set but the column names over here, right? And at the top you are seeing some information like this is a calendar information, if you are able to observe it. And I'll just try to zoom in if it allows me. Zoom. Okay, so all right, it looks like it doesn't reset zoom. So if I get my pencil back, okay, so here this is the order date and the calendar icon is present, and if I click over here, you see that date is clicked, right? Similarly for this is a string information because it is alphanumeric, so it has identified that is a string, right? And then you have same information for each and every one. It is very important that you evaluate that string should have ABC, date should have the calendar sign, and the information about orders. If you see, this is a location information, that's why the globe icon is present. So you have the globe for country, city, state, postal code, right? Region is custom region, that's why it is not present. So if you scroll further right, you will see the rest of the category, subcategory, product name, and then measure, if you see, is in hash. Hash indicates it's a measure. So measure is all over here. Some sales, quantity, discount, profit, right? And then you have this sorting also, where you can enable the sorting if you like, right? And that's pretty much about it, right? And over here, if you see, the table is the order table, 21 fields, 9,994 rows. It is based on the 100 rows what is being displayed over here. You have the settings option here, and you have this drop down also in case your more and more tables are present. And you have the setting icon which shows show aliases, show hidden fields, data source, A to Z ascending, so on and so forth, right? For now, we don't need this. Important thing that one should know is about filters. Reason for this is, many times it may happen that you don't want certain values while creating the visualization. So you have two options. You can reduce it directly at dataset level, which is present over here. If you click add, you click add, and then let's say you don't want a particular category or you don't want a particular city, right? So all of these values are given over here. Let's say I select city. Okay, so city, what do I don't want? So first thing first, I have two options. One is clicking all, and then it is giving me the option that all is selected. Let's say I don't want Akron, right? Let's say I don't want Allen as a city. I don't want Amarillo as a city, and I'll click OK, right? City excludes Akron, Allen, Amarillo. Very easy. If you want to add one more filter, click on add again, right? You have date related filter. you have segment. Let's say it's for segment. We don't, so select all and uncheck what you don't want. Corporate and click OK. Keeps consumer and home office. So you can see city exclude. There were a lot of city information. So rather than saying that it keeps, it has to bring the all of the field. Smartly, it says it excludes Akron, Ellen, and Amarillo. And for segments, because the list is small, it says you should keep. It's showing that we are keeping consumer and home office. And you click OK, and it reduces the data. So if I click OK, the data is reduced. And over here, if you see, two filters are present. So you can come back over here and say edit. If you want to remove it, you can edit or remove it. Select the filter that you have placed, click on edit, edit it. If you want to remove it, remove it. Same way, I will remove this because I want to bring all the data. So this is a data source level. What happens at data source level is it does not come into the sheets. After reviewing the data, filtering it, next thing is going to the sheet for creation of visualizations, right? So for that, we need to just make sure if we want to reduce anything and we don't want to keep it as part of our data set, we will just remove it. Okay, so very, very important information. Otherwise, what you can also do, that you don't want to reduce it at data level, right? You want to keep it in the data so that in the visualization you have flexibility, that for one visualization you want to keep it, for another visualization you want to remove it, right? So that is why it is important, as I mentioned, that you keep an option. Where it can be useful to remove it at a data source level, let's say your data source is really huge, it has 1 million rows. Tableau Public doesn't allow that. So you want to bring only that data which is needed. Let's say that is coming in 10,000 rows. So you reduce the data and bring it in 10,000. Let's say you can also say that, hey, no, Abhishek, I want to bring all the data. What can I do? Well, in that case, you need to perform some sort of data transformation so that you reduce the number of rows. Let's say grouping the data by a particular dimension, right? You have to find out some creative method so that Tableau Public is basically allowing you to import the data, right? So once you have done the data review, what you need to do, you need to come on to the sheet 1, and that is where the everything related to the visualization starts. Before we start doing anything, we will do an interface overview, because if you are viewing it very first time, I'm pretty sure it will be like, what I'm really looking at it, and what is all of this which is present over here. Very, very simple thing. In few minutes you will know everything. So let's get this. Let me bring myself down over here, and then let me put it over here. Okay, so what do I have is, if you see, I have this start page. Start page is nothing but the same data source page, or the start page we looked at the start. This is undo and redo, as the icon indicate. This is a save sign. This is when you need to add more data sources, right? If you have new data source, so this is a data source orders what we added. If you see, this is a data sign which is coming. So if you want to add more data source, you can add it over here. Then you have the option over here, which is nothing but duplicate of the sheet which we are creating. This is a transpose, swapping the rows and columns. We will see an example for that. This is a sorting, right? And this is the information about highlighting. If you want to highlight something, right? This is to basically pin it, or grouping the members. This is showing the mark labels, that for example, on a bar chart, you want to show what each of this bar value is, right? Pinning, fixing the axis. This is the visualization formation of this, which we will view it, like when to use the standard, fit width, fit height, and entire view, right? This is, if you see, its name suggests about various views within this. So you are able to see title, you want to see caption, you can enable the caption. Caption is now enabled over here, right? You want to view the summary is enabled. So all of that, something if you want can be enabled or disabled from here, right? Sometimes you may be wondering, okay, column shelf, if I just check it, your column shelf is gone, right? You may be wondering, oh, where is my column shelf? Well, because it is unchecked. Sometimes you spend a lot of time just at a simple thing, but this is available over here. So as a beginner, that's why in my videos I just make sure that you know everything about the interface and over here. For example, this marks, if this is unchecked, then you should know that you can always come over here and enable this, right? Same way you have the filters, pages, rows and all of these different views. So whatever is present over here in this sheet can be controlled over here with this icon or feature. This is to go in a presentation mode. If you want to view everything in a presentation mode, you can go over there, right? Coming down here, you have two sections: data. Data contains the information about tables, and within the tables you have dimensions like this and measures like this, right? So you have dimensions and measures. If you have a long list, you can always search over here. For example, I want to select PR and everything related to PR is present here, right? So you have the option over here for looking at your tables. If you have number of tables, you can view that, and the dimension and rows. Also, it has analytics pane. Analytics pane is nothing but, let's say if you want to have a constant line, for example, the targets informations, right, or is always a constant. So you want to bring those type of thing: average line, median line, box plot, some statistical measures over here, trend line, forecast, cluster, reference line, band, distribution band, box plot. A lot of capabilities, out of the box, simply clicking there as per the need and putting it out there. Now over here you have the information about the pages. So this is basically to create the effect of that. You drag the dimension, let's say 3 different pages you want to bring, especially for the animation sort of a thing. It becomes really easy. We will see an example for that, and you will see how it shows the information. You filters, very, very important. You want to filter a visualization with a specific basically value, you can do that like we did just a few minutes back. We can do that here. Marks, you will going to deal with it day in, day out. Very, very important. You want to color code something, colors. You want to size up something, sizing up and down here. Labels, you want to bring the text. Very innovative features, I'll show you. Details, you want to bring more details to the visualization, like granularity and all of that. Details. Tooltip, you want to create a simple tooltip, custom tooltip, advanced tooltip. Very, very important, very easy to do. Also, this drop down is basically a set of options that whatever is shown here, you want to show it as a bar, you want to show it as a line, area, square, circle, shape, text, map, pie, Gantt, polygon and density. A lot of option which is also present. Most of these options are also present over here. And if you see in this show me tab, the intuitive feature is that it shows that this particular visualization need number of dimensions and tables. For example, Gantt, 1 date, 1 or more dimension, 2 or more measure. Bullet graph, 0 or more dimension, 2 or more measures. Packed bubble, 1 or more dimension, 1 or 2 measures. So something which is very, very intuitive. If you see, click on show me, it basically enables that box. We will going to create all these visualization with the help of the examples, and I will also give you the exercises. So stay tuned with me as we will start creating the visualizations. Okay, so let's start with the visualization, and the approach for the visualization will going to be the question and answer based approach. Reason for this is I can simply go and show you that this is how you need to create a visualization. So that will not going to leave a lot of impact on your mind, but I will be actually trying to I will try to discuss that what are really some of the questions or answers that happened or a Tableau developer or a business analyst who does the Tableau related work as well should do it. So if you are absolutely beginner, or if you don't have any idea like what kind of conversation goes into when you create a visualization, this video should help you resolving those type of things. You can always create a visualization, but a thought process behind it, what really happened behind the scenes in terms of that discussion is something which I will going to reveal. So stay tuned with me and we will going to take care each question, discuss that, and then move it in the next direction in terms of creating the visualization. Okay, so with that, our first question will going to be I need order details for each customer. So in this case, if you see, your manager or your leader of the department basically interested in getting a list of all the customer, well, and their orders. So that means you have two important information. One is order and another is customer, right? So these are the things. Order details is something that is being asked. So that means you need order ID, you need order date, if you remember from the data set, and you need the customer name. Like these are the three things, but it is missing with one of the important information. Well, I can give you order date and order ID and customer name. What else you need? This is a question that you need to ask. So in that case, let me just write it over here. And if I take a text box for you, so that way we will going to list down. So we can say, okay, we will give you order ID, order date, order ID, order date, and customer name. But is this the only thing you need? Because from our perspective, you may want to look at, let's say, product name, right? The customer has purchased which product, because in one order you can have multiple products. So do you need product name? They said, oh yeah, we need product name. And we can ask, hey, whether you need shipping details. They come back and say, no, we don't need shipping details because we are only interested in analyzing order. And then finally, another thing that you should ask is, hey, for this order, do you need any information like what is the quantity that was ordered or what is the sales that is ordered? So they came back and say, yes, we need quantity, right? So let's say this is after, this discussion, these are the fields that got finalized. Then now you are ready to prepare a report. So the important thing is that you don't jump directly in creating the report or dashboard, but you always ask this question, and you can only ask these questions if you have a clear understanding of the data, right? So let's go ahead and start creating the visualization. All right, so here I am into this sheet again, where I have Tableau public. I will go to sheet 1, right? In sheet 1, you remember that this is the interface I have given, and here I have the show me table. So over here I have my dimension, and these are my measures like discount, profit, quantity. And if you observe, dimensions are highlighted with blue color and measures are denoted by the green color. And for measures you have hash, right? And for dimension, you have either ABC, the globe icon, which is a location icon. You have date icon, which is indicating date field, and so on and so forth. And there is a lot more other things which will be coming. So stay tuned for that. All right. So what do we need? We need order date, right? So let's select order date and order ID. So order ID, right? I have just single clicked on that, and then I am pressing my control button if you are on Windows, or command button if you are on Mac. Order date, hold down your control button, because if you remember, we need order ID, order date, and I am holding down my control or command button and then pressing customer name. After customer name, we need product name and we need quantity. Right, so I am now selecting multiple fields only after pressing down the command or control button. Now I have selected these many fields which I needed to create, and I'll go to show me, right? And what I have is a simple text table, which down below, if you see, for text tables, try, and if I come down very cautiously, yes, it has changed. If you see the information down below, one or more dimension, one or more measures. So if I select this, my table is created, right? But it is not as per the information I need, right? Why it is not as per my information? Because we need a simple table. What it has done is it has created unnecessary a pivot type of a structure. So what do we need? We need to make sure that every information is present in rows over, the columns over here, because we need order ID, which is, I need to drag this up, simply drag this up, order ID. We need order date, which if you see by default the year is coming. So we need to make sure that this is coming as exact date, right? And it will do this processing because it is converting from year, which is a default aggregation level, to the order date, right? Now I have the order date, if you see, which is now coming over here, and we will correct that. And we need customer name. So we have product name, we have customer name here, and it will just compute the layout and will take a couple of seconds to give us the final information. Okay, so we have order ID, we have product name, we have customer name, and we have order date. And we need order date as the, if you see, we need, right now it is continuous, but we need to make sure the discrete, that means it should act as a dimension and produce it. So if you see, not a whole lot of good information which is coming. So in columns, that's how the information is coming for each of the order, right? If I just expand this little bit, this is the order ID, this is the product name, this is the customer name, and this is the order date, right? And this is your quantity, which is coming over here. Now let me just change this layout a little bit to make it more impactful for you. So you have order ID in the rows, right? And then you have order date. I'll just drag this up here. Then after order date, now if you see, this is coming more like a normal table, which is, now I'll bring the product name and I will bring the customer name as well. Now it is coming as a simple table. So this situation may come to you, and I told you everything which how it will look like, right? So this is everything. Now if you see, this is basically the information, or this is how each of your order is present, order date is present, product name is present, and customer name is present. So that's basically we're going to tell you about each and every customer and their order that is being placed. You can double click over here and give this title, or give this report or sheet the title, that what it is. So it is customer order details, right? Simply select this. If you want to format this little bit, let's say we want to change this to medium and maybe 12 and maybe a little bit lighter, apply. Okay, so you have customer order details. Now in this table, this is coming as little bit within this area where all of this area is blank. Another thing you can come do to correct this is, you can say fit width, right? And that way it will go till the last, and then you can expand by coming over here. If you see this icon and I am dragging it towards the right, you can drag it towards little bit right, you can drag it little bit right, because the entire product name is not coming. So we can basically work according to that entire product name should come. Yeah, so you can further expand, and then I think all of your product name is coming and your report is now ready. So I will call it Viz1 in terms of the product order details that you need. All right, now you have made this report, which is a simple table report. As you can see, we have simply created a table. One last thing I want to show you, that quantity by default has come on text, which is present over here, that for this customer, this product which was ordered on this date, and this is the order ID, the quantity that was ordered is 3, right? So on and so forth for rest of the customer. So Tableau, what it does is, by default It does all the basically calculation, all the configuration in terms of identifying where it is present. Sometimes it is very, very useful because it helps you in a way, but sometimes it is not as per your expectation. Like if you remember, we changed a lot of things. We changed order date because it by default took the year, right? We don't want year directly, we need order date. So we need to make this change, and initially slightly confusing, like why does by default, why it takes continuous, why it takes by default year, quarter or month. But just hang in there for creation of visualization and in terms of configuring the visualization, and you will slowly start getting the idea. You will start getting to know the rules. If let's say you try to identify each and everything right now, you can get it, but it will derail you from the important process of getting to know the visualization and how you can answer some of these questions. So if not everything is clear, not a problem. I am 100% sure that by the end of this entire video, you will have the idea about it. Okay, now let's move on to exercise. I have basically shown you the customer details, customer order details. Now what you need to produce is the in the same way you need to produce the order shipping details. Keyword: order details, shipping details for a customer, right? Where you need product information and you need sales amount. Okay, where is sales? Sales is present here. So again, same process, same thing you need to follow: customer orders and shipping details. Okay, this is a report you need to produce as an exercise. All right, now let's move on to the next visualization and see the question. So our next question is, let's say the division head of product is coming to you and asking you, hey, can you tell me what is my sales in each state? Right now the person is a product head, right? And they basically maintain different product categories, like you have furniture, you have home supplies. I will show you all of these product categories, but they want to know in each state how much sales they are doing, right? Plus they want to know along with this, or maybe this is a question that you should ask, hey, I can produce this report, but do you want me to highlight which products, which states are having higher sales versus which products are having lower sales in a particular way, just so that when you are looking at report, you know your problem childs, that these are the states in which you have the less sale, right? So those type of questions or those type of scenarios that you can ask, or you want to tell them that, hey, is it by state you want to see your problem child, or you want to see, let's say, by category, like which category is not performing good, right? So these are some of the things that as a business analyst we should ask and create it. So now let's go back to the visualization, or go back to the Tableau public and answer this question: what is the sales of product category in each state? So for that, I'll come here, and over here, if you see, I will create the Viz2. So what is the sales? So I will select sales in each state. So I'll select state, holding down the command key if you are in Mac, or holding down the control key if you are in Windows. So what is my sales in each state by product category, which is nothing but this. Okay, so we have these three fields, and then what we can do, we can come over here in show me, right? It is giving us a lot of visualization option, but what do we want? We want, again, I will choose this table, but this will going to convert into a pivot table structure, right? And I'll just hide this. So I have this option where I am getting my answer that this is my furniture, office supply and technology category. This is a division that the product head is maintaining. And then these are my states in which sales are happening. So in Alabama, for furniture supplies, I have 6332. dollar sale in Arizona. This is the sale. Looks like this is where the sales is really less, right? And we can basically expand this just so that in, if you see, if I expand, this is how it expands and it looks better. Now, if you see, the scroll bar is coming because we have many states, and somehow I feel like this structure is not making sense. You basically created this report very quickly. You sent it to your basically product head, and your product head is basically saying, hey, you have created the report, but you feel like, this is not really very convenient. Can you bring this state onto the rows and these categories over here so that I can easily see this information? Well, you say that, why not? Let me just do that in front of you. While you are watching it, let me just come over here, which is a transpose, and swap it. And there you go. You have state over here and you have furniture. And he was like surprised how quickly you have gone ahead and did this entire operation, right? Let me just bring it away my exit, this drawing tool which is coming. Maybe you are not able to see it, but somehow it is coming. Okay, so this is the interesting option of swapping. Swap up, swap down, right? That way you can convert the columns to rows or rows to column, like vice versa, right? So that way you can now see lot of your states, right? And you can basically work through your entire data very easily. Now the scroll bar is also present here. It's not that scroll bar is not present, but if you see, your visibility has increased a lot. Clearly you can see from this, oh, in North Dakota we only have office supplies. We are not selling rest of the other two categories, right? Same is the case in Wyoming. You have 1603 in furniture, but rest of the two categories you are not selling. You are not selling anything in West Virginia under the technology product, right? So if that is something, you can very easily get it with the help of this visualization. Now let's come back to the second question. Your leader is coming and telling you, hey, this is good. Now you have given me, first thing first, can I see everything properly, like furniture is coming properly or office supplies is coming properly? So what you did is you created this. Now he's coming back and saying, hey, can you tell me, what are my states in which I am having a very good sales? Like those are really good in terms of sales. So what do? You have one of the two options. There is this sorting icon, and then you said, yes, I can do it. So you can simply go and you click over here and your information is changed. If you see, California is the state where the sales is really high, going down to North Dakota where you have very less sales, right? So these are like your shining stars, or these are the best places where sales are happening, as you can see. And down below, this is the worst state. Or he can come back and say, hey, can you tell me my problem child? You will say, okay, fine, I'll tell you. And this is where you click over here and you get those states in which sales are not happening, and maybe some of the questions you may want to ask, like why this is not happening, right? So these are some of the things which you can answer with the help of data visualization very easily. As you could see, we created this and convert everything very easily into easy to understand format, printable format, and give this information as who are your shining stars, or who are your best performers versus who are your worst performers. Now, coming back to the exercise part. So I hope you enjoyed this so far. So the exercise part is the, you need to know, or you need to tell them the profit, right? Your product division person, the head is again coming back and asking you, hey, can you tell me in a same way, this is a sales, but is this really true from a profit perspective as well? Can you give me a separate table where I can also see my states where I'm making a lot of profit or less profit? So in this case, you need to create absolutely similar structure, but rather than sales, you need to choose profit. Okay. So this is your exercise to recreate this visualization and answer the question, are those states same in terms of profit where I'm having the highest sales, or does the highest sales really mean I'm having the highest profit? That's the answer you need to give in terms of the real value. So I hope you will enjoy that exercise. Now let's move on to next question and create another visualization. All right. Now your same sales head is, or product head is basically coming and asking you, hey Abhishek, you have given me this information, which is good, right? But it's now becoming slightly difficult because I have to go one by one and see the state sales. Is there an easy way where I can compare the sales? Let's say I am on 10th state and I want to see the second state or third state and do some sort of a visual comparison. So I simply need what is my state and what is my sales, and I should be able to very clearly compare in terms of how good or bad they are when I compare any of the two or any of the three, right? So that way, they are asking you a visualization which will help you do the comparison of the sales based on the state in which the sales is happening. Then you said, yes, why not? I can give you that. And you come back to the Tableau public, and on the Tableau public, if you see, this is a sales. Now Mississippi, you have basically overall close to $10,000 sale. It's very difficult to compare it with this Wisconsin. Like, what is your overall comparison in terms of sales with the another state? So for that, what I'll do, I'll see West 3. So what are they asking me is sales, and what do they need is the state. So holding down the command key or control key, select the another the column. Okay, so once you have this, then you come to show me and you click on the bar chart. So this is the tutorial for bar chart with that question, because now you can compare very easily that your California is going all the way till here and your New York is here. So if you want to compare Delaware with California, or you want to compare Delaware with, let's say, Florida, it's a very easy comparison. You don't have to do that comparison in your head with the numbers. You have a very clear presentation that Florida sale is more than double from Delaware, right? So that is the answer to that question, that hey, can you give me the visualization, or can you give me an easy way to do the comparison of my states, right? So if you see, these are all the states which are there. Now you can go there and ask, or your user is asking, hey, this is good, but can you give me in an order where I have my highest sale at the top and the lowest sale at the bottom, so that my comparison becomes relatively easy and I'm able to get the information better. So you said, yes, why not? Let me do it right in front of you. You come over here again on the sort and you click it. And as you click it, you see that, okay, California is here and all the way till like Maryland, which is very less. And you enable the comparison of the information very easy. Now they come back and say, hey, this is good. You are giving us a lot of good information, but can you give me, so this keeps happening to us as well in a normal office, day-to-day office. Hey, everything is good, but can you give me this labels as well, like how much sales is there? I have to hover over to the mouse, or hover over my mouse over to this bar and get the information. So those of you who work in an office environment for the reporting can very easily relate to this, but that everything is good, but can you give me this as well? So this keeps happening. This is a part of your reporting. So let's give them the label. So label is present here, right? And you simply have to say show mark label. Okay. So this mark label is now present clearly. Along with the visual comparison, you have the numbers as well with which you can do the most accurate comparison as possible, right? So now you have given that this information, they have come back and said, Abhishek, this is really nice, but can you give me the $ sign as well in front of it? And I'm like, okay, let me give it to you. So what I do is I come back here on the sum of sales and come to the format, right? On the format, what do I have is basically these fields, sum of sales. In the pane, not in the axis, but in the pane, I have the number, currency, custom. Okay. So now if you see, this dollar sign is present and I have given the currency and I've sent the report, and they were like, wow, this makes, very easy for me to understand. I have the dollar sign and everything, but can you do two more things, Abhishek? Can you remove this decimal, because from all of these values decimal doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So can you remove the decimal and can you reduce this to 1000 values? That means 89k, 116k, 32k, right? So I said, okay, fine, let me do that for you. So currency custom, decimal values 0 0, so decimals are gone. Display units, change it to 1000. This is something which I have sent, and they were like, amazing. Now just keep sending this information every week or every month, or publish it so that whenever I need it, I can go ahead and do that. So we have this way come to our final report of sales state, which is allowing them to have the comparison and the interpretation of the visualization in the most effective way. So with that, they understood, they started consuming it and started producing it. Now, after 2 months, they came back and asked, and this is an exercise for you, that, hey, can you give me the same report, but I want profit? So what do you need to do? You need to create a new sheet altogether. Always create a new sheet, don't duplicate it. Create a new sheet and replicate every step for producing the profit report. Okay. So that is the exercise for this visualization. Now let's go back and see the next question. All right, so here we are with the next question, where let's say your customer segment or your sales leader is coming and asking you that, Abhishek, so far reports that has been created are good. Now we are starting to inquire about our customer segments. We want to understand the sales which are happening in customer segment, which is the highest and which is the lowest. So we have 3 customer segment, and in that 3 customer segment, we want to identify the sales in each of those segments. So we said, okay, fine, we can do that. And for that, let's go to Tableau Public and or Tableau Desktop, whatever you feel like. So what we did is we created the visualization number 4, right? And they need the segment. So where do we have a segment is here. This is where you have the customer segment, right? And you have sales. So we will hold down the command or control key and select this, right? And there is another option that I can double click like this. If I just double click and I double click like this, it does create the visualization. So this is a trick, right? Rather than, if you are not a very good fan of selecting it, if you see, I just removed it, dragging it from here. What I can do is I double click here, I double click here, and my chart is ready. Tableau automatically identifies what my chart is. If you see, this is the area, but if you want to expand, like we have done, start from standard to fit width. That way your visualization will fit the width part. And with width, you have the fit height, that means fitting the height, right? And entire view is also where you want to fit this visualization on the entire view, which is currently the case in this scenario. Okay. So now with this visualization, we have very quickly answer what is the highest sales, corporate and home office. So clearly in couple of seconds, they can just get to know, okay, consumer is basically where my highest sales are, and home office is where our lowest sales is. Now they ask, hey, can you give me the label, like how much sales they are doing? So we come over here and we produce it, and like they have earlier asked, hey, can you also basically tell me that the convert it into a dollar sign and in thousands. So we say, okay, fine, we can do that. We'll come here and come to format and in the pane, and you come to the currency custom 00 and convert that into 1000. So clearly 161k, which is nothing but 1.1 million, and 706k and 430k. So clearly your consumer sales is more than double or close to like 3 times of home office sales. So that's the idea one can get about this, right? So that is something very, very interesting and easy when you compare it with your sales, or you want to understand, or compare the categories of the product, it becomes really easy. So that's a visualization for this question, which is a horizontal bar chart, right? Sorry, the vertical bar chart. Horizontal bar chart is this one. If you see, this is in horizontal way. So one way or another, you can do that. If you want to convert this into the horizontal, so this is a vertical. You want to convert into horizontal, what you need to do is come over here and swap it, right? And just convert it into horizontal or vertical. So vertical, horizontal, whatever way you like, you can do that. Okay, so that is something we can answer. They came back and asked you, which is now an exercise, create a new sheet, and they are asking you the question, hey, what along with this sales, tell me if my profit proportion is also the same. That means when I am having my consumer as the highest sales division, is it also giving me the highest profit? Probability is yes, but we will look this answer in upcoming questions in a very different way, right? So that is more around going in depth into data analysis. Okay, so what do you need to create? Same chart, but this time you need to show the profit information and try to interpret this, that if the sales is almost like 3 times compared to home office versus consumer, is it also translating it into the same way for profit as well, right? So that is also the interpretation you should do, so that along with your management, you also have a better idea about what you are reporting and whether it is in the right direction or not. Okay, so with that, let's move on and see the next question and produce the visualization. All right, so now it has become slightly complex. Earlier, if you remember, we just gave them the sales by their customer segment. They came back and asked, hey, you have given me the sales by customer segment, but can you also tell me in each of these segment sales, how are my product categories are performing? So for example, I have a customer segment as consumer. Then in the consumer segment, how I'm performing for home office product, technology product, and that third product that we are having. So that is basically finding the proportion of product sales in each of the segment, so that you know that which product category is performing in terms of in each of their respective segment, and which one is not performing, or for which the sales is less. So if this is a question that we need to answer, then we'll go to the chart. So this is our chart, if you remember what we prepared. So what I'll do is I'll create this one from the scratch, and this is a visualization number 5. So what do we have is sales, holding down my command key, and I am selecting the category and segment, right? And what do we do is we basically go and create this chart, which is a stack chart. Okay, so what it does, and if I just change it to fit width, right, now it is covering the entire this thing. So now if you see, what do we have is sales by segment, same way if you remember, right? But each of the segment is broken by category, which is nothing but on the color category or color type, right? So that is something which I wanted to show you as to how your categories are, where we can clearly see in case of consumer, it is, pretty much evenly divided. But when you come to home office, clearly the technology is the highest one, and then office supply and furniture is relatively same. Even for the corporate, it is relatively same. Now they can say, okay, This is good, but can you also give us the accurate number so we can say yes, this is what we have done earlier as well, right? So now you have the information where for each of these category you have their respective number as well, where along with the category comparison we can even do this piece as well. So this is how we have given them the information where these two categories looks pretty much even, but in this case slightly difference is present. So that basically answer our question that what is my sale in each segment by their respective category, and we can break down this with the help of the category icon, right? So that becomes very easy for us because all of this configuration becomes super easy with the help of the visualization and easy visualization that it offers. Okay, now the exercise time. So the exercise question for you is, we have shown them the segment and category and sales. Like I have suggested earlier, you need to create new visualization, and this time you need to tell them the profit and also interpret like I just interpreted that here it is evenly divided and here you have technology as more profit. Same way, whether the way result is proportioned over here in each of the customer segment, whether the profit is also in the same proportion or not. That is something you need to answer by creating the new visualization where you will take profit for the segment and category. Okay. Now let's go to the next question and see what the question is and which visualization we are going to create. So here is our next question. Which segment is highest selling in each product subcategory? So we have product subcategory where we need to show the segment. We have consumer, home office, and the third one is I can't remember, but these are the three segments. And we need to show whether home office is the highest, the consumer is highest, and consumer is there. Let me just go and see. We have consumer, corporate, and home office, right? So coming back here, which segment is having the highest sales in each product subcategory? So we need to look at product subcategory. Within that product subcategory, we need to figure it out which segment is the highest selling. So let's solve this question with the help of the visualization. So what do? We come back and create a visualization, which is the visualization now number 6. Okay, that is capital V. So I'll just make it consistent. Okay, so once we have this, we have sales, right? And we are taking the product subcategory, which is here, right? Getting to make sure that the field is always there because we are working with a known data set. In data set, if it is not present, you need to make sure that it is added. And then what do we have is segment. Okay. And then what we do, we come over here in show me and I create this chart, which if you see or if you observe, it creates sort of a divide, right? And then have a grouping of chart. So side by side chart. So what do I get is, now I am getting a grouping by consumer, corporate, and home office. So what it is basically answering the question, not the answer that we need, but it's basically answering the question in consumer segment, which product subcategory sales is high. So opposite of what we are saying. So what do? We just need to change the order over here. We need to make sure subcategory is the first one. So we drag this on the right. So what happens? As you can see, now we have these categories which is coming first, and then in each of this category we have the segment information. So what I'll do, I'll just come over here and hide this, right? And I'll say entire view, and it gives me more information and I can basically then go ahead and see this. So clearly it creates an impact for us. Also, if you don't need color, just simply remove this because color has no relevance over here. And if you want to change also the color, if you don't like blue color, then you can simply come and say, okay, I need a little bit lighter color or whatever light color that we need. We can choose it from here. right? So whatever color we want, we can choose it very easily. Okay, so for answering this question, hey, in accessories subcategory, we have higher sales of consumer, right? Same way over here, consumer is the higher sales, consumer is the highest sales. So looks like pretty much everywhere, consumer is the highest sales that we are having, right? Followed by corporate, followed by home office. Also, fasteners clearly also indicating has highest sales consumer, but overall the sales is really low, right? And after that, here the sales are really low, here the sales are really low. So it allows you to do a lot of good comparison with the help of the side by side chart. So whenever you have two categories and you want to compare that, under one category you have another category and you want to do a comparison, this is a chart that you need to basically give them to do the or to answer the question. Now they can say, hey, can you give us the labels? So that's something you can enable it from here, and your labels are enabled, right? Very easily. You can, if you want, you can make sure font size, you can make it a little bit smaller, right? And you have furthermore option of coloring and all. You have the alignment automatic, but you have a lot of alignment option, which I will not change it because for me, I think it looks good, right? You have the label that you need and you are able to do the comparison. So that is the answer that is present in front of you. Okay, exercise. So your exercise question is, which region is having the highest sales in each of the subcategory or product subcategory? So now, rather than segment, you need a region field, which is this one, and you need to basically tell them that which region under which subcategory you have or which region has the highest sales for a given subcategory, right? So that way you will be able to answer the preference of customer based on their region, because that's why they are ordering more. Clearly, chairs, consumer, right? A lot of chairs, phones, right? All of that. So answer that question by creating the visualization from the scratch, and then I will move ahead and do look at the next question. Okay, so the next question we have in front of us is the contribution of sales in product subcategory. Now it cannot be as specific as I have mentioned. They can simply ask, hey, what is my sales in each of the product subcategory? Now you have two ways we have looked at earlier, that we can create bar chart and show it, which is like you can do the category comparison and give it to it. Another thing is, and another way is, you can also do it by creating a pie chart, which is also a very common chart to really show within the whole pie which has the highest percentage of the pie, or who is really eating the highest percentage of the pie, if I put it in another way. So which is a very common visualization method, and I wanted to make sure that you know it. So whenever you have, what I'm telling you is a best practice. If you have the 5 or less than 5 categories and you want to show which one is which is the highest category in terms of proportion of the measure, like proportion of sales, proportion of profit, right? In that perspective, then pie chart is used. If you have more than 5 categories, then I'll show you another chart in the upcoming section as to what you need to do. For example, contribution of sales in each state. Now state is close to what, 30-35 if I'm not wrong, or maybe 20-25. So that means a lot of categories, and it's really challenging to show it like that. So we will see it as to what are the other chart options that we have when the categories numbers are high. But whenever the 5 or less than 5, then I think pie chart is something which you can use. But if it is going beyond 5, like 10 categories, 15 categories, I would not recommend as to use that. Okay, so coming to our visualization, and I will call it visualization number 7, to answer the proportion of sales in each, what do we have? Proportion of sales in not the product subcategory, but category. CATE, product category, right? I've just modified my question. This is what I wanted to answer because I know the categories are 3 in that case. So I have category, I have sales. I come over here and you can see the chart is enabled. So my chart is present over here. And if I come and I say entire view, all of my chart information is there, and I show the label. My label is present. So now your information is present, which is the highest or which is the proportion. So it looks like proportion is pretty much the same, because if you see 836, 742, 719, and that's why you don't see a whole lot of basically bifurcation, right? So, but it basically gives the answer that, hey, you are selling pretty much equally in each of your subcategories, right? Something which is a very, very ideal situation so that you are not at risk. For example, if you are selling really high, if you are having really high sales in technology, that means that is your cash cow, but in a way it is your risk, because if its sales goes down, it has an impact on the entire company, right? So this probably is the ideal structure which they may want to get. And if there is a high proportion, you can show it over there. So it's very, very easy. You can make it. Now you need to create the same chart, the proportion of profit in each of the categories. So that way you can then do an exercise and interpret whether after the sales, whether the profit is also equally distributed among these 3 categories or not. So that is something I want you to look at it in your exercise. Alright, so now let's move on to the next question. And the next question is, which product subcategory sales has increased or decreased yearly? So for that, here we are in Tableau, and over here, what do we have is sales, and we have order date, and we have the subcategories. So we want basically the yearly sales. Now, year is a time dimension, as we are taking order date. So time dimension is something you will encounter again and again and again when doing the visualization. And the reason for this is time is a very important property for a business, because businesses are always like, are we improving over a period of time? That means last year, if I have $1 million worth of sales, this time I have whether more than 1 million, which means an increase, or less than that. So time helps us do the comparison, and there is a separate tutorial for hours that can be created only on the date functions and date related problems. You will encounter it pretty much on a daily basis. So that is something what I also cover in my advanced training. A lot of date related calculations like year to date sales or month to date sales, year over year sales, same period last year, all of those type of dynamic things which I cover it in my training, but that is something which I have covered on my channel as well. However, in future I am planning to post some more lengthy videos like this so that you can learn more and more about date functions. But coming back to this, we want to show the yearly sales, and this time I will going to choose the visualization which is a heat map, because if you see the heat map, in this case the heat map is based on the size, which basically indicates the 2018, 19, 20 and 21, which with the help of the size indicates whether this size is a small, size is bigger, and then pretty much constant in 2020, and the size is a little bit bigger over here. Same way, if you see for the binders, the size has increased over a period of time. It's in case of chairs, yes, size has increased, but for these smaller sizes you can't interpret a lot. And that is why sometimes size is important for the comparison perspective. But I will show you a small trick where the sum of sales is right now on the size. What we can do is we can drag this on the color. As soon as we drag this on the color, what it becomes is basically nothing but this highlight table. So what it does is it basically creates a heat map type of a structure, and we enable, let's say, the label as well, that shows that chairs sales has definitely increased because the color has become darker. For this, sales is pretty much the same if you see, that's because it has not increased a lot. Same way over here, phones has increased definitely, that's why the color is darker. In this case, supplies sales was good, it has gone down, so clearly you can investigate why that has gone down, and you have then the rest of the sales which is in line with this. So color in this case is way much better representation for the visualization, and as you can see, 4-year worth of information you are having in front of your screen, right? That's like thousands of rows or even millions of rows based on how big the size of the business is, but everything at one single page. Now they can come back, this is good, but can we get this by quarterly? You will do that, you will come back and you will say yes, you can do quarterly. Okay, so but Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, how is this? I mean, is it for 1 year? Is it for all the 4 years? What it is? So yes, this is for all the 4 years. But if let's say the ask is that we want to look at by each year quarter, then in that case you will come over here and you will select this rather than this quarter. You will select this one, which is a continuous quarter. The information is now crazy, but you can correct it by coming here and changing it to discrete, and you can see the quarterly information. 4 years worth of information, which is further bifurcated in quarter, is present over here. Very impactful visualization, clearly indicating that in this quarter 2018 Q1 you did not have any sales for copier, right? So very important, you can see all that information in one single page for your end user. So that is something I wanted to show you, that these are all the impactful visualization that you have for your users. Okay, with that I will call it viz number 8. Now exercise, I will not make it super complex. We have evaluated the sales. You need to evaluate the profit and see whether in the same way profit is also increasing or not, and do the comparison of these two sheets and try to interpret the data. Okay, with that, let's move on to the next question. So this was our last question. Let me move to the next question. What is the status of sales in each city? When we say status, that means they just want to know, okay, what is the status, or how much sales is there in each city? Well, to answer that question, let's come back here and let's call it viz number 9, viz 9. And now what I'll do is I'll take sales. So this time what I'll do is I'll take city. City should be here. So city, these are all my city. Sales, I will have it on text. So these are all the sales. So this is your status of sales. Good. So they felt like, okay, good, you are telling us the state, but can you help us put all of this visualization into one single page so that we don't have to scroll up and down, and we can clearly see in which city the sales is high or less? So in that case, you go to show me and see this. This is a recommended visualization which you can click, and all the cities are now on a map, right? And then what I'll do is sum of sales is on size. As you can see, indication is here, size. I can increase the size a little bit, right? And all the cities sales are coming. So that way, not only just that I'm giving the status, I could have given it in a table, but with the help of the map, I am also giving them an indication about where, in which city the sales is high. Along with the status, you are providing them comparative analysis. They can come, they can hover over here and view the visualization, right? So that is something very impactful that you have over here as a sales of the cities. And not just this, you have the circle to do the comparison. Now they come back and say, hey, probably this circle is good, but can you give me in different color, which is more in alignment with my company policy, color policy? So you can come to color and change color to whatever color you like. For example, this is what your policy is, or this is how you want to see it. You can come and change the color. You should not be able to restrict yourself to just one color, which is a default color. Okay, so I wanted to just let you know in terms of how you can do that. Now as an exercise, what you can do is, we have evaluated the sales for state. Now what you do is you evaluated the sales for cities. We have done that. You do that for the state sales, right? And that way you should be able to basically visualize the each and every state sales in just one single screen. Okay, with that, let's move on. And what is our next question? Our next question is, which product has the highest sales and lowest sales? Okay, let's come here and let's call it viz number 10. All right, so we have the product name. So here is my product name, and yes, add all members, and then we have the sales. And now you see again the similar type of problem, that we have so much sales, or we have so many product names. So what can be done so that they are coming in one single screen? Also the comparison is becoming easy. So for that, what you can do is you can come over here and show me, and this is the chart, the tree map, and you see the very impactful visualization is now in front of you, where you have on your screen each and every product. You can come down over here in the end and see, okay, what is your product which is having the lowest sales, to the product which is having the highest sales, second highest, third highest, fourth highest, so on and so forth. What is here in the middle? So if this is an investigation sort of a thing that you are doing for each and every product name, this visualization is for you. Also, when you put it in a dashboards type of a structure where filters are present, you will be able to just look at some specific part, if not the entire company. But if you want to look at entire company product sales and which is the highest and which is the lowest, or which is coming towards the lowest side of the thing, you can do that, right? So that is one of the things which you can do. Also, right now on the color, they come back and say, hey, this is good, but how can I identify whether it is my furniture sales, or whether it is my sales of technology product, or what it is? So in that case, right now on the color, you have sum of sales. So what you can do is you can remove it, right? And you have the category, right? Product category, which has this information, and you bring it on to the color. So now you see the impact that it has created. It has created the same visualization, but for each of the category. Here you have furniture, right? Here you have office supplies, and here you have technology. So clearly technology is the highest one, then this, and then the third one is basically the office supplies, what you have, and then each of their product categories over here. So that way, not only you look at the entire company product information, you have the technology product and the respective basically product name, and then the furniture and the office supplies and their information. So I wanted to let you know that along with this, you can bring in any other category onto the color and create altogether a much more impactful visualization for your end users. So that is something really interesting I wanted to let you know. And now, since I have done it onto the sales, same way you can do it, or you need to do it as an exercise on the profit and interpret it. If these are the highest selling products, whether these are really the highest profitable products or not, well, find out. This is the investigation as a data analysis or as a data analyst you need to do. All right, with that, I'll move on to my next question. So what is my next question? What is the sales of subcategory in each region? Now, by this time, to answer this question, you have already explored multiple visualization. You can do this by pivot, because you have subcategory and region. You can take, let's say, region onto columns. You can take subcategories onto the rows and sales in the middle area and produce this. You can do this by bar chart as well. We have covered side by side bar chart and all of that, or stack bar chart. We have done that. Do that. We can do that. But you also have other ways of doing the same visualization. So what I'll do is I will select the sales, subcategory, and the region by holding down my command key or control key. And on the show me, I have this circle chart which I want to introduce to you. So you have this circle chart, In this circle chart, as you can see over here, you are getting the information of each of the subcategory, right? And then region is represented here on the color with the help of a circle using the shape, right? So in the shape, as you can see, this is a circle which is present, and because of that you also have the option where you can have the filled circle, which is a much more nicer representation if you would observe, as compared to the hollow or the blank circle or circle just with a rounded color on the edges. So with the help of this, you have the option of visualizing not just the visualization but do the comparison that this is the lowest, south is the lowest and west is the highest, let's say for the accessories. And then along with this comparison, you can see whether the variation in the sales is high. That means lowest sales and the highest sales are very much drifted apart from each other, or they are very closer to each other. So that basically shows that within a region, whether there is a preference or there is no preference, each of the product is very near to each other. Similarly over here, right? So that helps us finding even the outliers, especially in case of chairs. You can see most of the sales is either between 80 to 100K, but especially for South region, this is really less. So what's going on there? Why it is not there? So it seems like an outlier. Similarly over here seems like an outlier where the sales is really less, right? So that is something which it also enables a user when they interpret the data after you do the right visualization. So there is still a lot that we can do, but since it is beginner, I will just keep it till here, viz number 11. And the way you need to now do next is you need to find out if the sales for the subcategory and region is having this variation, whether the profit is having that variation or not. So that way you will be able to very easily understand whether variation is good enough or not when you compare both sales and profit side by side. Let's say whenever we will create the dashboard, or you move to one sheet to another sheet and just try to see sales and profit is inconsistency for given subcategory and region. So that is an exercise you need to do. Now we'll go and see the next question. So the next question we have is, what is the sales of subcategory by segment in each region, right? So if you remember, or if you have seen the previous question, that was what is the sales of subcategory in each region, and this time what is the sales of subcategory by segment in each region. So that's how, you know, the questions can become more and more complex. And an easy way to answer this is just to modify this visualization. So if I just hide that, so what do we need is basically we have subcategory, region and everything, and we need segment, we need the customer segment. So what we can do is we have two ways. Either we can put it right here, and this is where we need to experiment and work it out what makes sense. So if you see, for each subcategory we have the segment information, and this is the region basically in each of these segments, right? So it has become now the really complex visualization, as you can see. And if I can move this by dragging it and move it here, right? And I can just make it what entire view, so that I can view this information properly. So if you see, we have consumer segment, we have corporate segment, and we have home office for accessories, right? Same way, if you see for chairs, you know, this is where in the consumer segment, in the East region, this is really high sales. So now the visualization, you can see it is really speaking, where you can see which category, you know, is having the higher sales, right? Which category is having really lower sales, like fasteners, and then each of their segment with the region information. So we have made now, or we are moving towards now into a more complex type of a visualization, where a user will have to spend then a lot of time to really understand what's going on. And that happens because as you progress in business for making the data visualization, the questions become more and more complex, and you want to answer them with the help of visualization like this. So that's how we were going to create or answer the business question, with the visualization where they are asking, if you see, we have 3 dimensions like region, subcategory and segment, and what do we want is sales, right? So that's the question we have answered. Now the situation or the scenario for practice. Now what do you need to do is, let's not change this a lot, but create a new sheet and now try to see it again by profit, right? For all of this subcategory, segment and region is same, and see it by profit whether the high profitable subcategory for the given segment and region is really profitable or not. And that is when you do the data validation or sort of a data comparison, that high sales always result into a high profitable category, or it is a different scenario. That way you can basically recommend your user or your management as to whether to focus there or not by revealing some insights from the data. Okay, with that, let's move on to the next question. All right, so the next question is, what is the sales trend in last 4 years? And if you are really beginner into data visualization, then you should know that whenever you will see the word trend, 90 to 99% of the time you will going to use the line chart, because that shows the trend over a period of time. So let's go ahead and see how we can create it. So we are here, let's move on and call it what, Viz 12. And there we need the sales trend. So we are going to take order date because that is a date dimension. So we are going to take the order date, and we need the sales. As soon as I put the sales, you will see by default it will going to change it. And this shows, if I move from standard to entire view, this shows that from 2018 to 2019 the sales has gone down, but then in subsequent years you have sales going up. So the way you can answer this question, that yes, this is how the sales trend really looks like, and the sales trend is going up, right? Now this is the answer that you have given, and I will make the next question slightly more complex so you know that what next business basically asks, and ask you to reveal more insights from this data. But for the exercise for this, now we have done it for sales. What do you need to do? You need to do it for profit. Okay, make sure you do that so that you do the hands-on exercise, which is very important. I'm keeping it very simple so that you don't have to worry way too much about doing the configuration. With that, let's move on to the next question. All right, so here is the question. What is the segment sales trend in last 4 years? So if you see, earlier it was what is the sales trend in 4 years. Now it is what is the segment sales in last 4 years. And this question can become, as you can see, more and more complex as you introduce more and more dimension. For example, one can say, what is the segment sales trend? What is the product category trend? What is my state sales trend? What is the trend of top 5 cities sales, right? You are showing it that it is in the top city for the current year or for the current period, but is it the same trend? Like continuously they are at the top, or they have recently come to the top? So these type of insights or these type of questions will come more and more as you progress. So let's go ahead and see how we can answer this question. What is the segment sales trend in last 4 years? And I will basically going to use the same chart, and then what I need is the segment. So if I bring, let's say, the segment, I have a couple of ways. So I have segment over here, and if you see, if I bring segment over here, what it does, it creates the bar chart, which we don't want, right? So what do we need? We basically need to drag the segment on color. So if you see, as soon as we move the segment on color, it basically creates 3 lines for us. So what it does, it creates 1 line for consumer segment, 1 line for corporate segment, and then 1 line for home office segment. So each of these lines are clearly showing that, for example, if you see the consumer, it was like constant sale and it has gone up. Then corporate is showing a good jump. If you see from here to here, this is like a linear, but this is more like a jump. And then it is slowing down a little bit, which is giving you an indication, okay, trend is going to be stable or going to be a little bit less over here. And if you see over here, the trend is going up. Here up until here, the trend was not so great, but now the trend is moving up a little bit more, and you can expect that sales will going to go up. So that's how the sales basically do bit of an understanding of whether it will continue to have a momentum, it will not going, or it will go down like it is showing it over here, and what are the actions that needs to be taken to remediate the situation, right? So that is something which I wanted to show you. Now you have to do the same exercise. You must have created this sales trend for profit. Now what you do is create this segment profit and try to see whether you are seeing the same jump or not, and try to analyze the data in the same way like I just did. Okay, so with that, let's move on to the next question. All right, so the next question we have: does quarterly sales trend has changed over the years, right? So if you see what they are actually asking you, quarterly sales trend, whether it has changed over a period or over the period of 4 years. So the comparison of the quarterly sales trend, and that is a tricky scenario. I wanted to make sure that you understand this. Okay, so what do I mean by that is, I'll come here, and if I show you, you have two ways of showing the quarter. One is this. If you see, it is just representing you Q2. However, if you come down below, what you're seeing is the full name, which is Q2 2015, or it will have, along with the quarter, it will have the year. So what we call it continuous. That means it will be having a continuous line, and it will be having a comparison. What do I mean by that? Let's show it in, let me show you in the action. So if I show you quarter, and if I just remove this, it basically shows you this one line. So this Q1 is having the Q1 of all the 4 years. This is a total of 4 years. Similarly, this Q2 is a total of 4 years. This Q3 is a total of 4 years. All those 4 years, I think 2017, 18, 19 and 20, all those 4 years total is here. Similarly here. But many times you don't want that. You want the Q1 2017, Q2 2017, Q3 2017, so on and so forth, right? So what will you do? You will not show this, but you will bring it here. So what it is coming? Not the 2017, but 2018 Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. And that is the difference between, if you see, this is now changed to green. But if I select this, which is a discrete, this will be blue, the blue one. And this will, if I change this to continuous, this will be the green, and this is what you have. Sometimes the interview question can also be, what is the difference between the green pill and the blue pill? And this is what they call it, pill or the field. So that you understand, the green indicate continuous. It is a continuous line, and what it means by continuous is this is the answer you were going to give, that it will be in a continuous trend, like you will have Q1 2018, Q1 2019, Q2. But if you have this blue pill or the discrete field of quarter, then all those values for the period, number of years, 4 years, will be cumulative, or they will be summed up. Okay, so now we understood that this is very important to see the continuous trend over a period of years for various quarters. But if I have to compare with whether Q1 is better than this Q1, or better than this one, or worse than this one, or better than this one, or worse than this one, then I need to choose the this one, quarter, right? So, but how can I do the comparison? Well, in that case, I need to bring this order date one more time, right? So we can do that. I will just bring it over here. So if you see, what do you have is basically, we have Q1, Q2, this is like 4 years. This is for 2018, 2019, 20, 21. So if I have to compare this, I will just drag this little bit on the right. And if you see, what it is basically doing is Q1, 2018, 19, 20, 21, right? And for the rest of the one. So it is clearly indicating, if you see this one over here, if you see this one, Q1 versus the Q2. Okay, this is all Q2. So let me just drag this. I think I messed up here. Right, now it is better. This is the view we want. So we have year, if you see, and pretty much the same from a comparison perspective, but here it is clearly improved. Here it is clearly improved. So that basically gives us a bit of a comparison in terms of if you want to compare the multiple periods over multiple years, like you want to compare Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 for these many years. So that's one way of doing the comparison, but your management comes back and says, hey, this is good, but can you produce these lines one top of another? Because I have to first go here, then I have to move here, then I have to move here. I want to do the comparison so that, you know, this line should be on top of this line, or this line should be on top of these two lines, right? Based on what the value is. You said, okay, fine, we can do that. And the way to do that, and this can be an interview question as well, the way you can do that is you bring the year field and put it on colors. As soon as you do that, if you see over here on the axis, you have quarter because quarter is present here, but comparison is now being done with the help of the year. So we can see 2018 is the blue color, which is nothing but this one. So one can clearly see that in 2019, Q1 sale was less than 2018 Q1 sale. And this is the 2020 sales. This is the 2021 sales. So clearly, in 2021, the Q2 sales have gone down, and that is basically they want to do the comparison because now the lines are on top of each other. That way, we can clearly see whether the trend is going down and in comparison with the previous years, or it is going up, right? Similarly, you can see for 2019, it was down in basically Q3 when you compare it with the 2018 Q3. Similarly, for 2020, Q3 sales was almost same as 2018 Q3 sales. So all of that information is now perfect just because we have created this visualization by simply dragging that year order date over here. So that is something I wanted to show you as to this is a situation which may arise where you want to do the comparison, and this is how the comparison looks better. All right, now it's your turn to do the practice on profit. Create a similar type of view where now you do the comparison with the profit and see and try to interpret like I was interpreting the data and write your observation. With that, let's move on and see the next question. All right, so the next question is, I think was that does quarterly sale. This is something we covered. What is the sales? What is the profit and sales trend over the years? Okay, so this is something we will going to look at. If you see, the interesting part is now we are comparing two measures. Up until so far, we have only compared the dimension or category values like segment with region, category with subcategory, category with segment, so on and so forth. Now, this time it is two measures, and I will show you something which is slightly advanced feature because by now you have a good understanding of basic visualization. This is a very advanced and it has number of use cases when it comes to creating a chart like this. And this is where, you know, all the Tableau experts you may have seen, they create an amazing visualization by following the technique which I am about to tell you, that is related to only when you have more than one measure in your visualization. Okay, let's go ahead and see this. So for that, I will going to create the viz number 13. All right, here I have low battery, so I need to plug in the charger. All right, so this time we need to take order date, isn't it right? Because it will bring by default the year, and we will going to take sales. So we will drag this up and I will change this to entire view and just see what happens when I drag the profit also here. So what it does, if you see, it creates two sections for each measure. One is for sales, another one is for profit, right? Now, you will say that, okay, I can work with this. Maybe what I can do is I can go here and one more important thing, if you will see here, you have all, you have sum of sales tiles and you have profit tiles. So this is a special scenario where for each measure you get different configuration, which makes Tableau really powerful. I mean super powerful, just because I can now change, let's say, color of profit to this. I come to sales and I change the color, let's say, to this, and I basically can make the size, let's say, little bit increased. I can change it to little bit thinner or smaller one, whatever I like, right? Because I have the power of doing this for my each of the measure that I'm dealing with. Okay, this is fine. And then if I want to apply the size and everything on both of them together, then I can do this, right? This way, if you see, it is now being applied on both the lines together because I am under all, not individual measures. Now, if I can enable the label, I can enable the label. That way, you know, I have, okay, for 484,000 sales, I have 49,000 profit. For 470 sales, I have 61,000 profit. For 609, I have 81,000 profit. This is fine. But what if your users are coming back that this is good, but can you give us in one single chart? Like in one chart, I should be having both of these lines. Right now, profit chart is separate and sales chart is separate. And that is where the concept of dual axis comes. Dual axis is basically one axis is here, another axis is here, which is a secondary axis. So what you can do is come over here, open this, and the third option from the bottom is the dual axis. As soon as you do the dual axis, you will see that, you know, you have sales over here and you have profit axis over here, and you have profit and sales dimension, which, you know, we can bring it, drag it here, and I can get the space. But if you see, if you observe and pause the video and just observe what is really the problem with this chart, right? Because that is a key to understand what I'm going to tell next. So make sure you pause it and try to see what exactly is really the problem with this chart. Okay, so I hope you have now analyzed it. If you have got it, very good. If you have not got it, no problem. Let me tell you, the issue is, if you see over here, the profit is 61,000, right? And the sales value is 470. How come these two values will be so closer to each other? Same way over here, same way over here, right? These two will be quite separate because the difference between the number is huge. So what do you need to do? You need to come to any of this axis, right click and say synchronize axis. As soon as you click on synchronize axis, you will see this one has gone down. So this is now one chart, but you have the proper alignment of lines based on what their values are. So now these two axes are synchronized. What we can do is we can right click and we can uncheck show header, that will hide this, and we have sales. What we can do is we can right click, edit axis, and we can remove the title. So we have title, which we can remove it and close it. So that way it will become independent axis and you have your chart. So what we covered two very important topics. We covered dual axis and we covered the synchronizing axis, which is very important after making dual axis. So that is an important thing, very, very important part of Tableau I wanted to let you know, because this you will going to use a lot, because in normal business scenarios, many times, I mean every single day, we not just work with one measure, there are always multiple measures, sometimes multiple dimensions, sometimes multiple measures. So having an understanding of this concept of how to use multiple measures effectively within Tableau is key to understand dual axis and synchronize features, which is a key feature of this this Tableau software. Okay, so with that, now your turn. What you need to do next, you need to apply it on the discount and quantity. You will take the average discount and sum of quantity and change and create this dual axis like I have just created to understand its trend over a period of time. Okay, that is your exercise. With that, let's move on to the next question. So our next question is, what is quarterly sales contribution of each segment? What is the quarterly sales contribution of each segment? And that is where I'll create the viz number 14. So quarterly, right? So what do we have is order date, and they are asking quarterly. So I'll come and choose this quarter because this will show a proper trend. And what I'm going to have is sales, and they are asking the segment. So I will choose the segment. Now I have couple of ways. I can choose the segment and I can bring it here, right? It shows the comparison. It shows the comparison here as well. If you see consumer corporate segment, but if I bring it on the color over here, you will see that I can do the better comparison. And then if I can simply change this to an area chart, it becomes quite more impactful, right? We can choose it from here, right? Or we can choose it from here as well, like I just did. I wanted to let you know you have both the option, area from here and area from here. So what it does is it basically creates this visualization which shows a contribution, like home office has a relatively low contribution followed by corporate, and the highest contribution is by the consumer organization. So that way we can give answers like what is the contribution. It's clearly showing which contribution, whether the contribution is increasing, like in this case home office is increasing, your corporate and consumer, all the three categories are increasing, or whether any category is decreasing or not. So it is a very, very impactful visualization for comparison of trend, the comparison of categories over a period of time. So here we have period of time, that means the year. We have the segment comparison. The next thing you need to do is you need to do the comparison of segment, okay? Or you can also practice it by comparing the segment for profit. So that is your exercise. Make sure you do it from the scratch and interpret the results correctly. Okay, with that, let's move on to the next question that we have. The next question is, what is the sales and profit of each customer? Very, very important. If you see, we can have hundreds of customers or even thousands of customers. How would you visualize each and every customer, right? And for their respective sales and profit. And this is where we were going to look at new visualization. So whenever you have data points, which is hundreds of data points you need to visualize, thousands of data points you need to visualize, and each point should come, we need to have a special visualization. And what I'll do is I'll create the viz number 15. And what do? We will select profit, we will select sales by holding down the control or command key, and we will going to choose the customer name, okay? And then I'll come to show me, and this is the visualization. If you see, Tableau is smart enough to recommend you this visualization, that scatter chart is the one that you should use. So we will going to click on that, and if you see, we have visualized all the customer. I can see individual customer over here, like Tamara. What is the profit and what is the sales? Okay, over here, Sean Miller, you have profit and sales. Who is this guy? Profit and sales, right? Like I said earlier, this is now it has enabled the shape, and we can create this shape as well, right? So up to us, whatever changes we want to do. Now there is important thing. Maybe your user can come back, oh, this is really good, I have the profit and I have the sales, and clearly I know that these guys is where we are not having a lot of profit, or the profit is in negative, if you see, right, as compared to these guys. So can you tell me what is the quantity that they have purchased, and somehow I can identify it easily? Well, what you can do is you can come over here on the quantity and bring it on the size, and if you see, the size comparatively is bigger here, it's lower here, it's very low over here, like the quantity is low, but even you are having a very huge loss, then what is the reason, right? So that is something one can basically do to produce it. Now another question which may come over here is, hey, can you tell me what customer segment they are, so that I know, okay, John Lee, is it a corporate customer, consumer, or what it is? Well, in that case, the answer for this question is you will bring the customer segment on the color, and as soon as you changes the color, you will see the visualization very clearly identifying blue is consumer, right? This is corporate. So you can see, okay, this is a corporate customer and this is home office. So you are having a lot of loss with this home office customer. Similarly, you see a lot of losses for corporate customer as well, where consumers are mostly on the upper side. Also, you can select this, you can select from here if you want really to see only corporate customer, or you want to highlight home office customer, you have the option of selecting it from here, right? Like I'm just selecting, so this is doing nothing but highlighting it. So that's how you can make a really impactful visualization and answer the question which your users are asking. With that, it's now the time for practice. Next thing you should do is create the chart for profit and quantity, and for each of the customer, the product category, right? And then for increasing the size, you need to choose the sales. So the question will be, who are the customer which are having the highest sales, and based on the comparison of profit and quantity. So profit, let's say, will be here, quantity will be here, and the answer or the answer we will trying to give is whether the higher profit is resulting into higher quantity, or for the lower quantity also you are having the higher profit, right? And then you can color code this by category by clearly identifying what kind of the product category these customers are ordering. Okay, so that is your exercise. With that, let's move on to the next question. So our next question is, in which sales range we are receiving most of the orders? So now you see the question has become really tricky. Sales range, that means $0 to $100, how many orders are coming? $100 to $200, how many orders are coming? And which range is really the one where you are receiving? Are you receiving more in the lower range? Are you receiving more orders, that means number of orders on higher range, or what it is, right? So for that, what you have is basically a different type of chart. So I'll call it what with number 16. And for this, what do we have is basically the sales. If I just select the sales, right, one of the chart which is now ready is histogram. So if you see, simply what it says is this is a range that it has created, and if you want to see the range, you will be able to see it over here. If it has created, yes, there you go, sales bin. Earlier it was not present, now it has created, and its sign is also different. This is a sales bin. So what it does is it creates the range, and for each order it is nothing but the count of orders, or the count of sales in this case. So how many number of sales that has happened. So clearly a lot of sales in the first category. So if I go and over here and edit this, you will see the size of the bin is 507, that means $0 to $500. So we have the way where we can enter a value. Let's say we want 100, okay, 0 to 100, 100 to 200, and so on and so forth. So you will see now change into this visualization. So clearly a lot of orders are a low value orders for you, and over here this is basically shows the different value, and mostly you have values. 80% of your orders is most likely within $300 or $400 range that you are receiving, right? So that is the kind of observation you can give to your user when you are working with histogram. So for histogram, you just need to select a measure like sales we have done, and it get enabled, and you can produce that visualization. So that is something, the answer we can give. Now the another answer you need to give is in which profit category you are having the highest profit placed. In this case, like we have the sales, in which profit category you are having the highest profit or highest number of profit values, right? uh, with that, let's move on to the next question. Okay. The next question is, which product subcategory has high average sales? Very, very interesting question, because if you see, we have multiple product category and we are talking about average sales. Okay. So you have multiple ways, but I'll show you the standard way of doing that. You have sales, you have the subcategory, right? And one of the chart that is enabled is the box and whisker plot. So if I just click it on this, what it does is it basically creates only one box and whisker, and this is nothing but your middle part or the average. So here if you see, the median is 114880, nothing but the average. So this chart is where shows a lot of information about outliers, like for some of the values which are really high, some of the values which are really low. From here to here is the first 25% of the value. So it is a statistical chart and needs bit of an understanding. But if you see, it is not giving a subcategory. So subcategory, if I let's say move it on to the column, again the chart has gone. We have got the categories over here, but the chart has gone. And this is where a small tricky configuration you need to do. Configuration is you need to come on to this analysis menu. So probably it is not coming to you because in my Mac it is on the top bar. But analysis menu, in the analysis menu you have aggregate measure. Just uncheck that. As soon as you uncheck, all these charts will come properly. And if I go and say entire view, so what it shows is these values which is outside of this chart is nothing but outliers, because sometimes your business can ask that what are the outliers in my data set? Well, these are the outliers, copiers. Information for copiers, these sales are outliers. This sales is an outlier. These sales are outlier. So based on that chart, these values are outlier, and clearly the middle value, which is the between the darker and lighter value, is nothing but your average. So you can clearly compare what are the average sales, and clearly copier has the highest average sales, followed by the machine, and then so on and so forth. So you can get an idea, or you can do this comparison very easily. If it becomes little bit difficult, I can show you with the help of category. That probably can be relatively easy. No, even for category it is slightly difficult. I'll bring the segment, and as you can see, how quickly I am able to change my visualization, and that change is what business needs. They may come, hey, can you produce that same chart by segment? Okay, here you go, right? So looks like a lot of outliers are present in each of these cases, and that's why you will see the average has gone down a lot, right? So you can change this. I'll just try last with region if it helps. No, because of the outliers it is going down a lot. So I'll bring subcategory, and all of my visualization are now ready. So you can see this is a very, very flexible and easy to make a change and see the different perspective. Now once we have understood this chart, which you need little bit more understanding, with 2 minutes you definitely cannot understand. I just wanted to show you the use case as to in which scenario you will going to use it. But this chart really requires reading in terms of how would you read the data. I just went ahead and told you that these are outliers, this is where your median is, but what does this mean? What does this mean? What is this part between here and here? You know, this is nothing but statistical reading. If you are a statistician or having an understanding, you can read it. But if you are a beginner, I first recommend that you read about box and whisker plot onto the internet, like Google, and Google it, and then come over here and create this chart and try to interpret it like what is really going on. Okay, so now you need to do the similar, but on the profit, which product category or subcategory is having the highest profit versus the another product category, right? Okay, let's move on to the next question now. And our next question is on my presentation, which is in which product subcategory shipping time is high? And we will introduce another chart, which is called the Gantt chart here. So I'll come to my Tableau public. We'll call it viz number 17. This will be the viz number 18, and we will start creating it. So for that, we have to now introduce another important concept of calculated field. Shipping time. Shipping time, what shipping time is? Time between your order and ship date. Your order date and ship date. So like in 2 days you are ordering, in 3 days, in 4 days, what you are doing. So for that, what I'll do is you need to come over here, this one, and click on create calculated field. Calculated field, an important concept because you will be dealing it a lot once you are landing into your job and creating the professional dashboards. So calculated field, because not every information is readily available, right? And you have to create a lot of calculations, and there are hundreds of formulas, the level of detail concept which you will for which I have created another video, and you can search for that. So all of that is basically going to help you to produce the calculations which you would require every single time. So not shipping time. And then what you have is you have ship date minus order date. So what it is doing is, if I have ordered something today and I'm delivering it after 2 days, so that means the shipping date will have the higher value all the time. That's why this is the first value, and we are subtracting order date, and we'll click OK, right? So we have shipping time, and what do we need is we want to understand for each of the subcategory how much is the shipping time that it is basically taking. All right, so for that, what do we have is shipping time now here, right? Hold down my command or control key and subcategory, and what we also need the date, because we want to visualize over a period of time for each of the subcategory what is the shipping time, right? So we will come over here and show me, and this chart is now enabled for us. If I just click it, and move it to entire view, you will see is basically shipping time in 2019, but this is the total shipping time that it takes. It has some value because you can do the comparison that over a period of time the shipping time is increasing or decreasing, right? And this one is like combined, that's why you are not able to see it. And this information somehow useful but not very useful, because we want to look at individual orders and their ship date that happened on each of these order date, right? So first thing first, what we need to do is we need to come here and we need to say exact date, okay? And then not a lot of useful information. Reason for this is we are not able to identify where the delay was happened and where it is normal, and we want to specifically understand the delay part of it because that's crucial for us. So what do? We utilize the sum of shipping onto the color, and if you see, as soon as we change the color, it clearly identifies, if you are able to see these darker areas, right? I can clearly identify this is a darker area, this is a darker area, and you can see 33 days it took to deliver it. Over here it is a darker area, over here it is a darker area. You can see 36 days, over here it is a darker area, 25. So this is like finding the needle from the haystack, right? And this is the power of visualization and the Gantt chart with which you can solve scenarios like this, right? So that is something I wanted to show you as to how you can configure the Gantt chart type of a visualization. Not very I would say specific use case to it, because Gantt chart is to show the basically the bar, all of these nothing are but the bar, and this bar width is based on the time, that the shipping time, the color coded with the shipping time. So the bar width is not changing. However, Gantt chart is used a lot in project management where they want to show the activity start time and end time, and based on that how much time it is taking. But we have slightly tweaked it for our scenario where we are clearly seeing where the time is really high and finding that information only, and with someone within 5 minutes can come out of this and clearly identify where the delay is happening and why. Okay, so that is something I wanted to show you as to how you can produce it. So for you, the exercise is simply produce this again and try to find the interpretation of this information as to in which subcategory delay is happening most of the time. I can clearly see it, but can you let me know, and whether do you see any trend or something. All right, with that I'll move on to the next question. For us, the next question is, are our sales above average or below for subcategories, right? So that is also an interesting question, because for subcategory, whether we are having above average sales or below, that is something interesting for your end user, because we are saying average. Whether above or below is something we need to figure it out. Or in another way, you can say that average is basically what you have for each sales category, subcategory, and then compare it with the total sales, so that you know that whether the sales is above or below. And this is again a scenario where you have two measures. You have total sales, you have average sales, and we will see how we can solve this. So we'll come over here and we'll call it what is number 19. And in the quiz number 19, then what do we have is basically subcategory, which I will bring it over here. And then what do we have is the total sales, right? And what I'll do is I will also bring sales one more time. So I got one more sales over here. Let's call it what entire view, right? And then for this sum of sales, I'll open it up, and in the measure, I will change it to average. Okay. Now I will further configure this. For this average sales, I will say not automatic, but I will move this to a circle. Okay, and I will change the color of the circle to something like this. Once I have done that, I know this is my average sales for each of my subcategories. Now I can come over here, open this and say dual axis. If you remember the dual axis, right? That is what it is. Now if you see, for both of these cases, it is now a circle for both of them, but for sales, I'll come over here and change it to bar, and I will change the color to for the sales, I will change it to blue and click apply and OK. Now if you see, our visualization is now configured. The only last thing, if you remember, right, synchronizing the axis. Right click, synchronize axis. So if you see, in most of these cases, our sales is really high and average is really low, right? Only in this case, average is slightly high. Only in this machine case, the average is slightly high. So we can basically say, okay, we are having a lot of total sales, but our average sales is relatively low, which is a cause of concern, because you may want that you are selling a lot of quantity, but your average sales is not going up. When the average sales will go up, your overall, the average sales value will go up, the better the revenue that will come in the company. So that is something very, very impactful related to this. Also, you can, from average sales, you can also have like median sale, right? Median is nothing but statistical measure for average. You can also have the maximum sales. So which is nothing but, this is the maximum sales amount that was ordered, 17,500. So for each of this category, if you want to understand what is the maximum sales amount, what is this maximum sales amount that was ordered, this is what it will going to tell you. So that's how you can solve a lot of these type of scenario. Now you need to do the same thing with profit, where you need to figure it out whether profit for your subcategories is in a healthy balance with the average profit or not. If it is not, then you need to basically work it out. Now with that, one more thing I want to show you, which is an important thing. Dual axis is one way. Another way you can go and do that is with the help of this bullet chart. If you see, So what I have done is I have clicked over there, and if you see this, nothing but the average sales, right? So you have sales over here, which is basically telling you that this is your 167,000 is basically your sales, and what is your maximum sales. The average sales is something it is taking, but it is not average, it is the total sales, and that is your max sales. So we want to basically flip that. So the way we can flip that is by coming over here and putting this on detail. However, that basically creates an issue for us because now it is not the bullet graph. So bullet graph is another interesting way. If I just go back and show you, it basically do the comparison with the help of these values or these bars as to how much closer or how much closer or farther we are. For example, in this case, we can say maximum sales is 3347, but our total sales is over here. That's another way, but usually bullet graph is used to compare the target versus sales, or in situations like this where you have to compare one measure with another. I will show you with another example because right now it is not producing a lot of good information for you. So I have sales, I have profit, and I will take subcategory and I will choose this. And you will see that what do we have is nothing but you have the profit as columns, and this is what your sales are. And I can swap this little, not swap this, but swap it here. So this way, what it is showing me, sales is here, but our profit is really less. Or we can basically change this overall. We can call it, okay, sum of maybe sales. I will remove that. We will say sum of sales and hit enter. And over here, we will just double click. This is another way. I'm just telling you right in front of you that you can do it. Change over here and enter. And then you have sum of profit. However, if you see, the profit is coming over here, but it is not really great because once we try to change it, it creates an issue with the this particular bar. So I'll just undo that and work without. So many times, you know, the way I try to configure it is with the help of dual axis, like you have seen, which I find it much more useful. The only thing is it shows this additional information like where it is up till 80%, where it 60% and 80% and all of that type of information. You can read more about it as to what this particular bullet chart gives. However, my personal recommendation, what I feel is it is much more better that we use the Gantt, the dual axis chart, which I showed you earlier. So I wanted to show both of that because on dual axis we have much more control as compared to the bullet graph. Okay, with that, let's move on to the next question. All right. Our next question is, what is the highest and lowest sales by each product name? Now, if you know that we have lots of product name, right? And I'll show you another chart as to which chart can really help you to do that as well. We have seen it earlier, if you remember, with the help of the Treemap. And this time we will say sales, and what do we have is the product name, and show me, I will choose this. So again, what it is giving you is basically these different product names for which I can do the categorization by category. So as you can see, it is now have become really beautiful, where it is showing you the furniture, the technology, and the office sales, right? And as you can see, highest one is here, highest one is here, another highest one is here. So you can basically go and point to any of this product name and really see which product it is, and you know that it is office supplies with the help of the color coding, and understand what type of sales that you are having. So in a scenario like this where you have hundreds of data points and you want to visualize that, bubble chart is your is basically the one which will going to help you a lot. So with that, you need to do the practice on the profit part of it. You need to create the profit for each of the product name, visualize it, or color code it with the help of the category and get the desired output. And that basically with this chart, our all the visualization part is now completed. I hope you have really enjoyed this part up until so far. If you have any question, you let me know in the comment and I'll try to answer. The whole idea was to give you a complete understanding of all the different charts. You know, some of the best practices as per my understanding and as per my experience, you know, how I would handle that chart or what type of questions are coming, and I have tried to make it more as much practical as possible. And I am not leaving you here. We will going to look at two more important things. The first important thing is the dashboard. If you see, we have three things. We have sheet, which we have been looking at it. We have the dashboard, right? So we'll click on the dashboard, and if you see, the dashboard is now created and it has a different interface. So let me give you the overview of dashboard. So overview of dashboard is basically, so first thing first, what is dashboard? Dashboard is a collection of your different charts which you bring it together so that your user can explore the data. For example, if you see, I have my visualization 1 here, visualization 2 here, third is here, fourth is here, fifth is here, sixth is here, seventh, 8, 9, 10, all of that, right? But our dashboard will have all of these visualization over here, all these sheets here, which I can bring it on my canvas and create a combination in such a way that it becomes most useful for my end user, right? So you have that, and what we will going to do is create a dashboard. So let's go ahead and create a dashboard. So first thing first, as a beginner, what I want to make sure is you have floating. Tile is basically for those users who have really become an experienced with the end user or with the Tableau public and know how to configure this. This is a separate subject area. A lot I have already covered. I can provide the link or you can ask me more about it and I'll give you some scenarios. But for now, as a beginner, I want you to make sure you are on floating. In floating, you know, this becomes an open canvas where you can put your visualization anywhere. In case of tiled, it basically expects you to have a tighter control over your visualization as to where to place it. That's a basic difference. Floating is like, hey, you know, I have canvas and I can just paint it like whatever I want, right? Okay, so I have this. The first thing first I can do is, this is the place where I have the size and I have the default. And I can choose the size of, let's say, 720 and height is this. So let me choose 1200 if that helps. Yeah, 1200 is good, right? So this is good. Now in this, first thing first, what I want is basically the first thing first, what I need is the, what do you call, the text. So I'll bring the text, which is nothing but the dashboard. Sales overview dashboard. Okay, and we will select this, and by Control A or by mouse, I can select it from mouse and I can make it 28 and I will make it Tableau bold and click OK. So I have sales overview dashboard, and with this I can drag this up here. Now you can see it's very easy, right? Because I have chosen the floating layout. So this has become the title of my dashboard. If I want to do some sort of a color, I can select this. In the layout, I have background and I can change the background. And as you can see, it is now changed to some background. So select the visualization. Within the layout, background is present. And in the background, you can choose whatever color you want and that will be changed to the, in this case. So you can choose none for nothing. So that's about how you can change the dashboard color, the dashboard title color or the component color. Now let's come back to the dashboard over here. So this is a sales overview dashboard. Now it's about what visualization we want. So we have first visualization, which is a table, if you remember. Second visualization is this. Third visualization is this. Fourth is this, so on and so forth. So let's try to, for the creation of the dashboards, let's try to bring, let's say our audience wants to see basically the sales of the different states, right? So what you will do, you will bring this and move this up from dragging it and putting it over here, and you will say double clicking. What I'm doing is I am simply double clicking over here and I'm saying sales by state, selecting it, making it what, 12, and Tableau medium. If you see apply, this is how the color is coming. Also, one of the best practices, it should not be that dark. You should have a slightly lower tone of the color. So you have sales by state, right? So you have this, and if you want, you can drag this from left to right if you want to create some more space. Yeah. So that way scroll bar is present. You can move up and down and get the sales by state visualization. So that is first visualization. Let's say after this, our audience is interested in basically viewing the heat map, right? Sales heat map. So if, okay, that was to go to the sheet. So this icon was to go to the sheet. So what I will do is I'll bring this. So this is nothing but subcategory, if you remember, right? If I just expand it till the right, or maybe I can take it down below here because it can take a lot of space. Okay, now if you see, it is coming properly. So what it is having is basically the quarter date and the sales information. So we will say sales heat map by subcategory and quarter. Select this, Control A, select this, make it Tableau medium and 12, and this is just to make sure this is, the title is everywhere the same. The consistency is the key for situations like this. So we have this is a component which is blank, so you can also bring this down like this. Okay, so that way you know that this is the range. If I move up a little bit maybe, okay, and after that, we have lots of visualization, as you can see. And let's say our users are really interested in viewing the sales and profit information of the customers, right? So what you can do is you can bring this up here and we will move it towards the right. We will bring it down and we'll just see that it is up to this level, right? Furthermore down and we should be good. And this is just to look at it up until what place, this visualization. So this is nothing but sales and profit for each customer. Okay, so you select this again, make it what, 12, the color coding will be this, and this will be Tableau semi bold. Click apply and okay. So this is the same formatting what we have done earlier. And now once you have done this formatting, right, you have this legend which it has come over here. What do we need? We need to bring this here, right, so that this can be part of the visualization. Okay, so now one can clearly see what this color coding really means. You have the size as well, right? If you want, you can keep the size by keeping it over here, or if you want, you can remove it, not adding a lot of value, because you know that okay, size is something you need to give bit of an education. So with that, if you see, your dashboard is pretty much in a ready stage. If I just expand this down a little bit further just to make it useful. So what you are showing is, you are showing the sales by state, you are showing the sales and profit of each customer, and you are showing the sales and heat map by subcategory and quarter. And this is usually the requirement of the sales or the sales management or the subject matter expert is giving. There can be two different types of requirement. One is they want to view multiple metrics together, like we are having sales by state, that is a sales dimension by state. This is a sales for each customer along with profit. And this is again sales. So what do you have is basically one topic which is sales. You want to analyze the sales, and here you have it. You have product subcategory, you have state, you have each customer. So pretty much everything is covered based on what they have asked, and we have moved ahead. Another type of category can be that they want the different types of metrics. For example, they want to see the sales by state. Beside to that, they have profit. If you have followed my exercises, then you must have created the profit by state. So one chart is for sales by state, another chart is for profit by state. Then heat map, let's say for sales. Then another metric, let's say they need to know about quantity. Maybe another thing they want to know about shipping time. So that's like a big scorecard where you have multiple metrics based on the user's questions which they need an answer while exploring with the data, right? Now, important thing about the dashboards is dashboards always have one or the other filter which can filter the entire dashboard, right? For example, if I want the product category, that I want to know, okay, what is my furniture? I should be able to select that. If I want to know technology, I should be able to select that. If let's say that is a requirement that is coming, then what you can do is you can go to any of the sheet, for example, this sheet, right? Rather than searching it from here, just select the sheet in which you want to go, and you can select any sheet, by the way, to add a filter, and I will show you that filter, how you can put it here on a dashboard, and then all the other visualization will also be impacted from that. So we'll go here, select the sheet, go to the sheet, right? And we will add the category filter where here, and we will say all and OK, right? So now I have a category filter. I will come back to my dashboard. So here is my dashboard, and I will select this again and go to this more option. If you see this more option, you come over here, click this. In the filters, you have category. So you'll select category, and the category is now present here. So what I'll do is I will bring category maybe here at this, right? Right now it is overlapping with this. So usually for the filter, what we do is we select this again from more option, and this will be single value drop down. You have couple of options. You have single value drop down. You have multiple values. If you want to select multiple value 1, value 2, value 3, you can have that as well. So I'll select that multiple value this time, and you have the checkbox now. So I can select all, and then this is now more like a individual standalone filter. So if you see, if I move myself here, so if you see, this is how your dashboard has come, where you have the category, but if you see, it is only impacting this chart, and we want that this is a dashboard level filter, so it should impact this and this chart as well. So what do you need to do? You need to come over here on the more options. In the more options, you have apply to worksheet, and you select all using this data source. Since we have only one single data source, that's why we are saying all using this data source. So if we do that, now if you see, every chart is now filtered for furniture, or every chart is now filtered for home office or technology, or if I need these two are now here. And if you see, everything is now present, right? So you can uncheck any of the one, or you can do a mix and match and get the desired output, right? So you can see how easy it is. In like some 10-15 minutes, we have a fully functional sales overview dashboard. Also, just to make it a little bit more interactive, or more, I would say more user friendly, I have selected this blank area somewhere outside, so nothing is selected. I'll go into the layout, and you have this background which is right now not highlighted, right? Because we have not selected anything. But if you want, you can select any of this visualization like I have said. And what I can do is I can select, let's say this, I can come here, select, let's say this, I can come over here, let's say I select this, and I come over here, and let's say I come and select this, just to make it consistent. If you see that way, and if I select this and make till the end, what I'm doing is I'm just telling you some of the best practices that is followed. So feels like, this is one component, this is another, this is a third, this is a fourth, and you are having some sort of a color distinction or color coding in your dashboard which is attached to each sheet, just to give it a little bit more professional look rather than simple blank look, right? So that is another thing which you can do. Now, very important, another thing which I want to tell you. For example, if you have a requirement where they say, okay, whenever I select something from here, California, my rest of the other visualization should also filter. Like Pennsylvania, I want to view only Pennsylvania information. So one way is we can have a filter at the top, or another way is we can use this sheet as a filter. How we can do that? By clicking it, the option here, use as filter. So when you click on use as filter, you want to view only Pennsylvania information, you click on the Pennsylvania and all the information is filtered for Pennsylvania. Or I want to look at Ohio, I want to look at Michigan, I want to look at Texas. So you can see how impactful we are creating this visualization, that first these are the two categories, and even for that we want, let's say, only Florida. So it clearly shows, okay, in this Florida, Sean Miller is the one who is the highest one, but we are not having a lot of profit. Compared to who you have over here is Patrick, who is giving us sales and having a good profit and a good quantity, right? So that information is something now filtered for this visualization. And if you want to uncheck, just click it here again and you will view everything. So if you want to set it for California, you select California and this is all your California information. So that's how we have created the dashboard right in front of you. I will not leave you here. You will have to be with me for one more thing, which is also very important thing, nothing but story, right? So story, what is a story and how it is different from dashboard? So if you see, dashboard is nothing but a collection of different visualizations. But what is a story? In story, you have like a story, what it has usually in a story, what you have is basically the introduction, then some investigation about the core concept of the story, and finally the conclusion, right? That's how any movie story is also there. You have some introduction of a problem, you go deep down into the problem, and finally you have the outcome as to what do you need to do. Same is the concept with the story. And stories are basically to identify, hey, why our sales are not increasing. So we look at some patterns and some information as to why the sales is not increasing, or why our shipping time is deteriorating, or why we are having more increased time, or why the number of orders have released, why the returns are increasing. That why part of it, if you are investigating that, you will do that, right? So whenever you have a situation where you need multiple visualizations to tell the story about what happened, how it happened, why it happened, and what is the conclusion, this is what you will do. And I will just show you as to how you can configure. First thing first is, let's say we start with this visualization, and we say, okay, this is our visualization which is for consumer, corporate and home office, and I will give it a name, double clicking it. What is the compute accessibility features? Let me just deny it. Okay, what is the sales by each segment? So what you do is you come over here and you say, okay, this is my sales. So the next question is, over here, if you see, home office is having the lowest sales. So why home office is having lowest sales? So that is a question you have created, right, for your user, as to what is the sales by each segment, and then next is why the office segment is having a sales. So what do? You basically create a new story point over here, which is basically nothing but creating the new page within a story. Now the next part of this is new story point. Either you can duplicate or you can create blank. So we'll create a blank. Does home office always have a lower sale? That means you want to look at each of the segment and see whether home office is always lower or this is the first time it has the case. So over here, you have the visualization, which is about this this particular corporate home office and all of that. So what do we need is basically a trend for this. So what I'll do is, to answer that question, we will duplicate this. So what I did, I right clicked over here and I clicked on duplicate, because what I will going to do to answer that question is I will bring the order date onto the segment. Okay, so what it does is it basically creates the year and the segment, but what I want is I want a trend like this, which is basically to indicate that home office is always lower. It is not that this time, only this time it is lower, but the trend shows that it is always lower. So what we'll do for this visualization, we will bring it here, and the answer for this, the answer will be that if you see, home office is always having a lower sales, but technically home office is really improving. So it's not the case, this is not the right interpretation that home office, why the home office sales are low. No, that's not the right interpretation. After looking into the why, we looked at the trend, and trend suggests that always home office is lower than consumer and corporate. However, in recent years, home office is catching up on sales. Then they will say that, okay, tell us what is the lowest and highest best performing and worst performing product in home office. So for that, you will create the new best and worst performing product sub-product category in home office, right? Home office. So what I'll do, I'll create new sheet by coming here and clicking new sheet. I need what I want to create only for home office. So what I'll do is I have segment, I'll put it on filter and select only home office and click OK. So I have set the filter only on home office, right? This filter has come category because if you remember, this was present in the dashboard and we said all using this data source. So everywhere only the same data source is used. That's why it has come and it has this sign, which indicates that it is applied to all the worksheets. Okay, so we have segment as home, and then what do we have is I will just make sure in dashboard I'll select everything all, so that this is not impacting my sheet. So what do we have is basically subcategory, right? And we have basically the sales over here. And what we can do is if I just move myself, we can create this chart and I can swap this and order this so one can really understand. So in the segment home office, these are phones is a best performing and fastener is a worst performing. And what I'll do, I will enable the labels as well. Okay. So now my point is ready. I can come back to story and I drag sheet here, and this is best and worst performing subcategory in home office. So that becomes your this one. And then further investigation based on the question. So based on the number of questions you are asking from the data, what is the sales by each segment and why we are having the less office sales. If that is a question that has come to you, here is your visualization. Then you have said, does the home office always have the lower sale? I should have sale, S-A-L-E. This is becomes sale. So no, because this is not the case that this is the only time or home office is is comparatively lower only at this time, but over a period of years sales are always less for home office. That means it is basically a division which is comparatively less performing. However, in recent year this is performing. And then who are my best and worst performing? This is where your best and worst performing product that are there. Now there can be a lot of different questions in these products. Which product is the highest, is progressing really good, or over a period of time, in last 3 years or last number of quarters, which product is showing high growth, low growth, and stuff like that. Those questions will keep coming. You will keep adding this over here, and this will become like your story. And then finally you have to somehow conclude it, because from the experience I can tell you, people can keep asking questions, management will keep asking questions, but somehow you want to make sure that you don't create a story which is like never ending. Nobody really likes a movie which is not ending. Everybody likes a movie which is ending, right? So that you know that where to conclude. So make sure your story is concise. If it is deviating, then that means you need to create a new story from that. That is a kind of conversation, a mature conversation needs to have to happen with the management, who are always like, hey, can we go and see this, or can we go and do that? So that type of a thing is very important for creating a story. So I hope you got the idea and just and an understanding of why we are creating this story and why it is so impactful. And I hope next time when a situation is coming, you should be able to create it. And that is the everything I wanted to let you know in the beginner video, right? So I hope you really enjoyed all of this session. I think almost 2.5 to 3 hours long session with me. Let me know if you have any question, but I hope after this you will have no problem creating any new dashboard or story or visualization. Also, if you want to move on to the next level for creating stunning dashboards, you can join my training, the advanced dashboard training, where I cover 10 dashboards from the scratch. Okay, with that, thank you so much, and I will meet you with some other video. Keep suggesting me the topic that you want to learn from me, and I will create the tutorials for you. Thank you.